What's up, potheads and political junkies? We are currently the highest people in Vancouver right now. Well, we're not really in Vancouver, we're in North Van, but we're high above Vancouver. As you can see behind us here, this place is called, what's it called? The High Point?
Highview.
I think it's
Isn't
called,
it?
no, I think it's called the High Point. Or I could be wrong. Highview? Maybe it's Highview. We already forgot. But it's,
We're high.
we are, and we're gonna get higher. And we got Carly Marley with us, like the Kush Nugs here.
Thank you. If you like this Kushnut stuff, it's locally made and we carry lots of it at our store at 307 West Hastings in Vancouver, BC. So, if
Wow,
you like
what do you
it.
know? Got
Lots
that,
of cool stuff.
that's exactly where I got this shirt.
Also done by another local designer.
That's right, Scotty.
Yeah, and we've got
Damn
lots
fresh.
of his designs in the store as well, including lots of fun summer stuff and tank tops. We got so much clothes in the store right now. We've never had such a big selection. It's amazing.
Very
Lots
cool.
of Huff stuff. We got lots of Huff stocks on the website, so check that out, cannabisculturehq.com.
Spark it. Yeah. So we decided it's way too damn nice to be sitting inside the Pod TV studio again. So this summer, when it's this nice out, we're gonna be taking you guys outside because we want to show you some of the beautiful places that we get to smoke pot here in Vancouver, and why Vancouver is considered to be one of the most beautiful places in the world. But this is like, man, I've actually never been up here before. This is the first time I've seen this view from this angle. You can see most of everything up here. Got the Lionsgate Bridge right there.
What about this doobie? Can you see that?
I can see the doobie.
Incoming.
Haha. So there's not a heck of a lot going on right now in the news. There's a few pretty important things though. Got word this morning that we lost the stay application for the court case, unfortunately. So they're all saying the city of Vancouver is now wanting these new dispensaries, or all the dispensaries that are still open, Weeds, the like Dana's dispensary, the medicinal cannabis dispensary, and the other ones. They're all like narking them out, publishing all the list of all the ones they want to close and all this. Andrea Wu from the province, or I think it's the province, is publishing all the names of them. So there's a lot of this weird like narking out the last of the businesses that are still open in Vancouver. People like Deepak Anand from Cannabis Compliance Inc. and Trina Fraser, the lawyer who helps people get licensed, are publishing, twittering CBD providers and narking them out, essentially saying, you guys shouldn't be allowed to do this, you know, and basically,
the guy from
and
Normal?
adding Health Canada to try to get these guys in trouble. So that's some serious narc shit. Like calling these guys out and trying to get them busted. Like,
I thought I
fuck
saw
off.
somebody who was from
Seriously.
Normal too doing that too.
Normal. These are supposed to be people helping the pot
Yeah.
community, not hurting them. So it's pretty savage that we got like, you know, people that are supposed to be part of our community asking for our community, other people in our community, to be arrested. And it's really a monopolization technique. And it's a way for the big marijuana businesses to come in, steal all the profits in business, and try to arrest everybody else. That's how they get their monopoly, right? By criminalizing the competition. And that's what politicians, these big politicians and corporate guys want to do. Make their competition illegal, and then they'll be the only ones allowed to do it. So we're here consuming our safe substance in a pleasant way and criticizing the bad people who want to take our safe substance away from us. I keep hearing about new dispensaries in Vancouver that are opening. We have Hobo dispensaries now opening. Anil, can I hit this?
For all your hobos.
Hobos, yes. They only serve hobos.
Because that's how, you know, potheads love to be branded.
I don't think they actually do though.
They don't serve hobos, no, because you have to have like a lot of money, first of all, to get any weed there, because it costs you $50 an eighth or whatever it is. So there's probably not a lot of hobos coming in with the bindles being like, load up my bindle. Unfortunately, you can't load your bindle up. You have to buy it in a plastic container. Yeah, and you can't, you know, I'd love to be able to go into the weed store with my own container and just have them fill it like you can at any old school dispensary, but
Which is way better for the environment.
way better for the environment. That's how all of us hobos do it. Bring your own bindle. For those who don't know what a bindle is, look it up. The bindle is the little sack that hangs on a twig.
It's coming back.
Coming back. That's a new style.
Coming
The
back. Fanny packs, now the bindle.
exactly.
The bindle's
Fanny
coming
packs
back.
are coming back. We need bindles.
BYOB.
But yeah, I don't really get this whole hobo marketing stuff. Like they're trying to play off the homeless community or
I
something?
think it's really offensive. I wasn't sure at first when I heard it was like HOBO, like does it stand for something or something? And then we went to their website and their like slogan is "Not all who wander are lost." So this is literally the branding that they're going for. Like they're literally trying to be like, yeah, stoners, homeless people, right? This is what appeals. It's like not every fucking stoner is fucking, I don't know. I just feel like it's extremely stigmatizing. It's like we also like stores that, you know, are nice and feel nice and are complicated. There's so many names you could come up with. Like, and they talk about wanderlustness, and I get that, what they're trying to go for, but like, why not just call it wanderlust? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't get the branding.
No,
but
it's horrible traveling.
But again,
I find it offensive.
When
and
you go inside, though, it doesn't look like a train car
no,
or anything.
No, it looks like an Apple store.
It looks like an Apple store. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna put my leg down. And yeah, there was a meme that was on the internet that says, when all the weed stores look like Apple stores, they should be letting a lot of people out of prison. Like, what if you can go into any store and buy weed like an Apple store? How come there's so many people in jail for cannabis still? How can that happen where we have this?
Providing a green plant, they're trying to access the same plant that people are making millions of dollars off of now.
It's like collective cognitive dissonance, where you can hold two ideas in your head at the same time. Well, it's okay to criminalize people for cannabis, but yet you can walk into a store and buy cannabis like an Apple store, and there's all these people in jail for it still.
And it's not in some foreign sweatshop. It's like, it's happening right now. Like, as people are cheering shops coming in, people still.
It's the hijack. It's the great corporate takeover of cannabis, where it's cannabis cultural appropriation, where corporations want to steal the cannabis community away to profit from it, and then continue to criticize and oppress the cannabis community itself.
Expropriation.
Expropriation. Exactly. Yes. Well, for all the social justice warriors out there, they should be bitching and complaining like they do about everything about this subject. Why is it that all other cultures are protected, but the cannabis culture is constantly shit on, constantly demoralized and made into second-class citizens? We are a culture. We've been doing this for a long time. So beat it. Leave us alone and stop trying to steal our shit. I'm gonna hit that. So yeah, that's pretty sad to see the news, but it's not all bad, because the court case, the stay application being denied by the judge doesn't mean the court case is over. So there's still this court case going on. We're still fighting for the constitutionality of dispensaries, and really what they've done is they're asking for this appeal, and they're asking the judge to look at two things. One, what the Vancouver city has locally done and how that doesn't really stand up to the law, and two, how the constitutionality of cannabis medicine hasn't really been looked at fully by the courts yet, wasn't looked at by the last judge, and that's why we're appealing, because he completely avoided the subject of the constitutionality of the dispensaries. So we think we have a constitutional right to have dispensaries, places that you can go and get good quality medicine, not from a large, shitty government corporation, government/private corporation, where you have, the weed is all middleman by government sources, comes in plastic containers all dried up.
It's not good quality.
That's not medicine. The patients who smoke cannabis know what kind of medicine they need, and they know it doesn't come from these legal stores, because that shit's garbage.
That's why no one shops at them.
And you're seeing a lot of the legal stores in other provinces actually have to close several days a week because they can't get enough product, and they're finding that sales of all the legal weed has been disappointing compared to what their projections were, because they're selling shitty weed. Who wants to buy that dried up, crusty stuff? Like,
from a store you can only go to like 2 days a week, if that.
Yeah.
The ones that have actually opened yet.
Weed people are too smart for that. Like I always say, cannabis people are more snobby than wine people or cigar people. They know what quality cannabis is, and they're not just going to settle for bunk. And no matter how much these government officials try and force it down our throats with a gun to our head. It's funny to watch people who know nothing about cannabis come in and try to be the cannabis community. They want to be us, but they never will. So
I want to get on top of that thing over there.
On top, some cool graffiti over there. Yeah.
We're right in the mountain.
We are. Now, if anybody wants to come up here, how do we tell them how to get here? This is, it's up on Cypress Mountain, actually, which is nice and fitting for a high point. Up on Cypress Hill.
It's very sunny.
It is. What else is in the news, Carly? Anything interesting?
I would mention two things. The Vancouver City Council had to, or a councillor specifically put forward a motion realizing that legal dispensaries will not serve the community of the downtown Eastside properly. And they don't know what to do, because even if they grant the 4 dispensaries in their kind of zone downtown Eastside a license, they will all have to close down and immediately not be able to serve people. And they realize the spike in overdoses would not be acceptable during that time. But, you know, they're busy. They also want to turn Granville into a nightlife district, so that's been pushed back to the 11th of June. And the National Ports reported that RCMP documents have confirmed that they intentionally did not discuss an illegal cannabis sale by licensed producers because they feared it would hurt their stock price.
Oh,
I'll throw that in the show notes when I update this.
There you go. Well, yeah, let's depack a couple of these little things. That first thing you mentioned about city councilor putting forward a motion, it was basically Sarah Blythe, who is the a person who is in the East End, a harm reduction worker who has been selling cannabis in the East End and has run into some trouble with the police about that. She's got High Hopes as her group that she's got down there. She's been trying to help people use cannabis as a substitute for dangerous opioids for a while, and the Vancouver Police Department actually came down and gave her some trouble there. Now, she got in touch with Councillor Bly is her name. Rebecca Bly, and she put forward this motion, and the motion is asking essentially for the city of Vancouver to remove this idiotic no-go zone that they have in the East End that says no cannabis dispensaries are allowed to set up in the East End. And actually what's hilarious is they wrote this little zone up that had the East End of Vancouver completely cut off, the red zone, and we opened a store on Beatty Street just right next to it in the safe zone. And then they came back 2 weeks later after they found out that we opened our store, and came back about a month later with a new zone, and all they did was draw us into the map on Beatty Street. They changed the only one tiny little part of it just to draw in Cannabis Culture on Beatty. And so we actually tried to use that to challenge the no-go zone in our BOV hearing for the Beatty Street location when we were in court, or in the BOV, the Board of Variance hearing, and they denied it, even though there was shenanigans in rewriting the zone. So it looks like they, instead of actually genuinely having the safety of people in East Vancouver in mind, or the downtown East Side, really they're using these people as a way to sort of disqualify companies they don't like Cannabis Culture, and it's pretty sad to see such cynical politics where they're, you know, basically hurting people. Well, I guess that's the name of the game for politics. Hurting people for their own gain, and hurting people so they're for their own control.
Hurting people for favors.
Yeah, exactly. And there's what reason is there to not have dispensaries in the East End? Like, if the dispensaries are government run anyways, or, you know, government regulated up the ass, what excuse do they have? What harm could a dispensary cause in East Vancouver? I don't know if there's a real legitimate concern there at all. You got every other kind of business in the East End. Why is cannabis always treated like some nuclear substance? Cannabis people are treated like second-class citizens. Everybody else, you can have liquor stores all the way up and down the downtown East Side. Liquor's the most dangerous drug there is. But yet you can't have a cannabis dispensary? What is the reasoning for that? But maybe it's doing them a favor for now, because if they let them open a legal cannabis dispensary in the East End, nobody's going to like that weed anyways. And people in the downtown East Side might not be able to afford the insanely high prices of legal cannabis, you know, that you get at Hobo or Cannabis City or whatever the fuck they call it. We need High Hopes to be allowed. So I'm not even sure. I mean, I think we got to look into the details of what that motion actually states, but I'm hoping it will go further than just getting rid of the no-go zone. I'm hoping they'll allow people to give away cannabis.
Speaking of which, apparently Jeff did that today at a Tweed store. It says 2 joints. So haven't seen it. I'll have to take a look at it.
Really? Wait, who did that?
Jeff.
Lundstrom?
Yep, I think so.
Whoa, cool. Jeff did call when we were on the way up here, but
oh, man.
we should have got him on the phone. Yeah, well, that's kind of cool. So what, he was giving free weed out at the Tweed store?
I'm just reading the chat. This is not first-hand reporting. I'm not a primary source.
2 joints.
I'm just reading the chat. But,
well, that's pretty cool. See, there's a law in the new federal law that says you're not allowed to give away cannabis. So you're not allowed to sell cannabis at less than the price you bought it for from the government. I believe that's what it is. So you can't offer a discounted price from the government prices. Whatever you bought it for, you have to sell it at least that much, and the government controls all the prices.
I thought you weren't allowed to sell it at all if it wasn't.
If you have a legal store.
If you have a legal store, okay.
Right, if you're a legal cannabis retailer, you're not allowed to give away free cannabis. You're not allowed to even give away discounted cannabis at lower than the price you purchased it from the government for. So this is the government's way of really stopping places like High Hopes, who are helping people in the downtown Eastside, give away free cannabis.
I'm going to Jeff's page, see if I can find anything about that.
But of course, a citizen can give free cannabis to another citizen. But as a business, you're not allowed to give away free cannabis.
But let's say you give me some cannabis, and then I'm like, thanks, here's some money for doing you that favor. That instantly makes it illegal.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, again, how do they enforce these things? Right? Like, it's sort of...
by going after whatever
it's
minority
cherry picking,
they want
right?
to.
They'll just continue to cherry pick like they always have with all the other drug war issues. And they have a rule on the books that allows them to just go after whoever they don't like. And that's the whole point of prohibition in the first place, is it just allows them to target people from the minority communities or young people or whoever they don't like, essentially.
Yeah, at that time, anti-war, like whatever it is, whoever they just cannot deal with. Whenever common sense speaks up.
Exactly. They get them by, but it's weird how people who have common sense usually smoke cannabis. So they just make cannabis illegal and you make common sense illegal, or the people who subscribe to it. Yeah, so, but there was a second part to what you said when you were talking. What was the second part, Anil?
The other thing was the National Post story, unless you still wanted to talk about the city's motion. It isn't too detailed. I don't think anything will change but it does get read again, I believe, the next general session, so that'll be the 11th of June. But yeah, it doesn't get too specific, but it seems like a good time just to present the, at least people are willing to understand the severity of the issue, especially in terms of overdoses. And when they talk about the downtown East Side, it's still, even though it's drug use is seen as being intense, I think it has to do with the density of people, and that still it's only a couple percent of the amount of drug use across Vancouver, and so overdose rates apply to everyone. So the idea that they're saying unless you live in the downtown East Side, you have to pay essentially a premium on your cannabis just for a safer alternative. That's a shakedown.
Well, it really is. And that's the fact, that's the whole thing. I mean, again, it's artificially inflating the price of cannabis by having all these ridiculous regulations. And that doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't work to stop prohibition, it doesn't work basically to stop the black market from existing, because you have to, in order to stop the black market, compete with it. If you want legal stores to be popular, you have to have quality product for a better price than you can get on the black market. If not,
and good hours like the dispensaries had. We had a dispensary that was open till midnight every night. People needed that. We relied on being able to go to the dispensary late at night, and if people aren't able to access their cannabis when they need to, and the stores are only open 2 days a week and only for a few hours, that doesn't really work for people.
You can buy cough syrup 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
24 hours a day, no problem. You're sick, 3 a.m., don't feel bad. I can numb you with this, but
no kidding.
If you want a flower, can't enjoy the view.
No, it's ridiculous. And what a brutal thing, where they could have easily just made what was already there legal and collected taxes on it. It was already functional, and there were no bodies piling up.
Well, one thing I think that's interesting about the city's motion is that they do seem to, without using the word, but I think implicitly make clear that medical cannabis is a necessity to meet the opioid crisis. And if they already had medical zoning, which all the zoning was, all the shops that they closed should be able to open back up.
Yeah. But again, it's like, how do you afford to just, even the stores that they are allowing to open, even if the 300-meter rule didn't exist, how do you manage to have enough money to rent out a building, sit there for months and months and months and months while you wait for the government to eventually get around to license you. You literally have to have millions of dollars. So they've designed a system that only allows people with millions of dollars to take part in it. And they know that, obviously. And then they pretend, oh no, oh it's so easy, how come everybody can't get involved? And you got people like Kirk Tusaw and Matt Barron online saying, oh, anybody can get involved, there's no limits to who can be involved. You have to have millions of dollars to be involved, guys. You really want to get involved in the cannabis industry and have a store? You have to have millions. So yeah, it's not accessible. And Matt Barron, online grower, the great gardener, saying, oh, all the pioneers are involved in the new industry. Matt Barron, there might be a few of them, the ones who, sold out early to Canopy, like Hillary Black and these others. But no, there's not. Most of the pioneers want to be involved and are not involved. So
I find the Matt Barron one so hilarious because he was somebody who spent so much time talking so much about how his weed was the best weed, and here's all the scientific reasons, and and this ratio to this ratio, and I did this
weed.
and this. But at the end of the day, now he's promoting irradiated weed that's got like no fucking trichome heads on it. So it's like, pretty much anything that you ever told me about cannabis, I don't see any validity to it. I think it's like the most irreliable source of cannabis information now, because if you're passing on Canopy shit like, hey, good weed, you don't know anything about pot. You can't claim to. If you're saying that in all sincerity, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know good weed. I'm
sorry, but Canopy as a company is not ethical.
I'm not
sorry. Canopy
sorry.
Growth is not an ethical company. They call for the arrest of... Their CEO is out there whipping up hate against the black market and against the old school, saying that the only safe weed is the stuff that comes from them. And there's a bunch of nasty stuff. There's a lot of evidence of them lobbying over and over again to have people in the cannabis community arrested. And that's the same type of stuff you're now seeing coming from people like Deepak Anand and these other guys, calling for people to, adding Health Canada basically with CBD stuff. Like, man, why do these people want to hurt people? It's like, don't they realize that those type of actions actually have a negative effect and hurt the population? When you deny people CBD, even if it's not legal, it's hurting people. When you deny them cannabis, it hurts people. When you force the dispensaries to close because of these ridiculous regulations and don't license them, you're hurting people. The city of Vancouver is literally hurting people by over-regulating cannabis, and every level of government is.
Is that a walking path that we can go down? Can we explore?
I don't know. We could give it a try. It looks like it's just a walking path that goes to an outhouse, as far as I can see. But there's a bit of a walking path, though. we could go see how great the outhouses look.
I can go see if it goes
Hot box. Hot box.
But I'll wait until we bring back a selfie.
So this is our high rant up on the hill here, up on Cypress Hill. And you didn't do your show last week. Opus took over for you. Yeah. But you'll be back on Monday, will you?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, and will Celeste be back on Monday?
Celeste is going to be back as well.
Where was BC Bud Gal?
She went back to Sycamores for a little bit.
Very cool. Fun.
I'm sure she'll have lots of cool vlogs and stuff for us.
And we're working on some new stuff for Pod TV. We can't really introduce anything too much now, but Neil's got some new stuff in the works with some of our contributors.
Always always something to watch on Pod TV. You go to Pod.tv, you will never be short of something. You can learn, you can laugh. It's all there. You can get involved.
When are we going to get Kush Queen back? She's a busy girl these days.
She's Gibson.
Kush Queen has had her baby.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful baby
Damien. Little cutie. Yeah, so we're going to have to go check Damien out soon.
Yes, we are going to go for a visit.
We could do a Kush Queen show. Road trip. Yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah, it'd be good to have 7 shows one day back on Pod TV. Did we not have that at one time? Every single day we had a show. We'll get back there soon. Neil Magnuson was thinking about coming up here and joining us. We called him when we were on the way up, but I have a feeling that he's probably not going to make it because it was really traffic heavy when we were on the bridge. Where's Neil? He's on the bridge.
I like how you can see all the different bridges from here. That's the one that's near Marley's place.
Have you zoomed in at all out there to see any of that stuff?
I have not.
Should zoom in and take a little look here. Let's do it. Freddie back, yeah. There's Freddie in the chat. Yeah, there's my rant. I knew Freddie would like that one. Oh, I don't know if I can zoom in with this thing. I was able to last... Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Look at that. Look at this view. My hand is always not very steady when it's zoomed in because I'm a little shaky. But look at this view. Good Lord. This is some beautiful stuff. Well, Freddie's got the one-man smoke show going back again, I'm pretty sure. Don't you, Freddie? Let us know in the chat there, Fred, if you got that going on. I mean, that's something we could probably put on Pot TV. I don't know.
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's up there, but I don't know if we broadcast it live on our feed. But Freddie broadcasts it live, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, I think Freddie does his own thing. We're always happy to share. He's always welcome to come back.
Yeah, we'd love to have Freddie live on the network. So there's that view. Yeah, if you guys still going strong, says Freddie. Doing amazing work. Freddie, of course, for those who don't know, is the cannabis activist who was right about everything. There's some, yo, you got that joint? Okay. All right, well, we got to look at all the crew around us now.
It's a great spot.
It is a great spot. But I guess we'll sign off. It was fun. If you guys get the chance, come to High Point on Cypress Hill. The road takes you right up here. There's actually a spot you can go a little higher to, but it takes about, I think there's a 45-minute trail you have to walk up from. Yeah, but it's worth it. We're going to keep bringing you cool Vancouver spots over the next little while. Right, Carly Marley? Our dab ventures. This wasn't a dab venture because we didn't dab, but...
maybe me and Celeste will do something somewhere.
Yeah, it's too sunny to be indoors. It's our giant outdoor studio.
It's hard to get guests on your show when you...
Well, that's true. We need to set up an outdoor studio.
Yeah.
That would work. 710's got a cool balcony.
Hey.
We should go talk to them about that. They don't. I don't know why they don't turn that into a studio out there, but yeah. Yeah, Freddie says Cypress Hill should have played Cypress Hill. That would have been perfect. That's actually one of the reasons we came up here today, because I was like, what are some of the highest points in Vancouver? And of course, Cypress is one of the highest points. All right. We love you, Pod TV. We'll see you soon. Drug peace.